6 years ago, I looked down at my desk at work and I said to myself, I've had it, I can't take it anymore, I have got to get out. 6 years ago, I worked at a place that was a personal prison for me, and maybe even somewhat literal too. There was no windows, there was no sunlight. The entire office was white. The tables were white, the floor was white, the walls were white. And the job was completely regimented. If you wanted to have lunch, you had to do it at the designated time that they told you to have lunch. If you wanted to take a break, you had to take a break at the time that they allowed you to take a break. If you wanted to go to the bathroom, you had to ask permission to leave the room. Now this doesn't sound like what you might imagine a glamorous life of an attorney to be, but it was. That was my job as an attorney. 2 years out of law school. Have you ever went to a job and that day said, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this? Any of you felt that way? That's how I felt that day. And I said, I have to get out of this. Because understand, I had a big vision for myself to be a successful attorney. In 2004, my friend from college, my best friend from college, Reggie, came over to my house and he brought with him a U.S. News and World Report magazine, and he showed me the statistics for new law student graduates from the top law schools in the country. Their salaries, to start, were $125,000 a year. The rate of employment for new graduates out of the top law schools, 90%, right out of law school. And I said, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an attorney, and I'm going to go to one of the best law schools in the country. I will be set on money. I will have job security. And there's prestige with being an attorney in our society. And some of you are from other countries, but in America, being an attorney is a respected profession, for the most part. And I would have all of these things, and I would be set for my future, and it was going to be great. And I would get to work at one of the top law firms in the country. And so I started on that path. I did just that. In 2 years' time, whoops. In 2 years' time, I attended the University of Chicago Law School, a top 5 law school in this country. And in my 3rd year of law school, I got accepted to a major firm here in Chicago to work there after graduation. So things were moving forward, things were progressing along the plan that I had envisioned for myself. And have any of you sought a job that would give you more job security maybe than the one you have right now? Or were interested in a career that had more job security than the one you had right now? Have you ever sought a job that was going to give you maybe a little more prestige or respect? Maybe it was a promotion, or maybe an entirely new career. That's what I was seeking, that's what I was fighting for, and things were moving along in that direction. But in 2008, the economy crashed. And rumors were abounding across the country, but especially in Chicago, that law firms were laying off associates and partners left and right. And in my 3rd year of law school, I open up my mailbox, I get a letter, thin white envelope. Job has been rescinded. The firm that I was going to work at rescinded all offers to incoming associates for the first time in its 50-plus year history. So now all of a sudden things are not going in the direction that I had planned. I was distraught. I was scared. It's terrifying to lose your job. I graduated law school without any prospects of a job. Forget that 98% chance of having a job upon employment. Things had changed. All the walls of opportunity were closing down around me. I went on interview after interview, and they all said the same thing, which they never would have said years before. You can't hire somebody at your level of experience. So I took the one job that I referenced earlier at the beginning that was hiring, which is called document review. And it is the bottom of the barrel for an attorney. It is mindless and it requires absolutely no skill whatsoever. So now I'm trapped. No one's hiring, no firms are hiring. Years have gone by doing this job. I said, I have got to get out of this. So I went home that same day that I started this story, that same day, when I said, I've got to get out. I went home and I spoke with my wife over dinner. We were at a small table, just seated only 2 people, just the 2 of us. And I spoke to my wife, Valerie. Valerie has long brown hair, and she's a bit shy, but she's a deeply compassionate person. So I was telling the right person. And I said, Val, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. There's no opportunities, and the work that I'm doing is miserable. What do I do at this point? And she looked at me, and I could feel the compassion that she was going to give before she even said it. And she offered some sympathetic words, but then she said, Dan, what would you enjoy doing daily? Just day to day. Forget the money. Forget worrying about prestige or respect or having some career that society thinks is special. Just what could you imagine yourself doing day to day that would make you happy? I thought long and hard about her question. And I said, well, since I was 12 years old, or maybe 12 is up here. When I was 12 years old, since I was 12 years old, I have been passionate, deeply passionate about fitness. I've worked out my entire life. I read magazines, books. I'm one of those people that you might derisively call a fitness freak. And I said, I know that, well, basically a gym to me is a second home. And I said, I know that if I spent my career there in a gym, helping other people get the same qualities and results that I love getting out of fitness, strength, confidence, energy, if I could help other people attain those qualities, I know I'd be happy. Forget how much money it paid. As long as I was doing that day to day, I could feel good knowing that I helped somebody else each day of my life. And she looked back at me and said, if that's what's going to make you happy, I support you 100%. And that gave me the courage to start moving forward with it. So the next day, the very next day, I purchased a course to get certified as a personal trainer. Months later, this time, instead of holding a letter of rescinding a job offer, I am holding in my hands a certificate as a personal trainer. And this was deeply meaningful for me, because in that paper I felt the opportunity to be happy. I saw a future for myself where every day I was going to be enjoying whatever it was that I was doing, helping people. And 5 years later now, to today, present day, I've been doing it ever since. I have never looked back on my decision to leave law, and every day has been incredible, an extraordinary experience of helping people every single day of my life. And from that whole experience, I've learned 3 things. 3 things on how to find the courage to improve, or rather, 3 things on how to find the courage to change your career to something that you are meant to do, something that you love. And those 3 things are simply what I just described. Number 1, ask yourself, what is it that you would enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis? Don't look at just the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, at the very end, far off into the distance, but look instead day to day. What could you imagine yourself having great interest in? Think long and hard about that. And once you've come to a decision on what that would be, share that with someone close to you. Tell them that this is a direction I'd like to go in. Find someone close to you who you know will support you. Because when you get that feedback and they say, hey, I want to see you happy, I want to see you do that, or I think you would be great at that, that is definitely you. It'll give you the courage to move forward with that career choice. And the third and final thing that'll help you find the courage to change a career to something that you really love was something that I learned from Tony Robbins, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with him, but if you're not, he self-describes himself as a success coach. He helps with people become successful. And he says, never leave the scene of a decision without taking an action towards it. So that's exactly what I did and thought of when I decided that I was going to become a personal trainer. I said, I have to do something right away. So once you've decided what it is you're going to do, once you've told somebody who will support you and be supportive towards you in that goal, within 24 hours of that, take one decision, take one action, any action, towards moving towards that new career. But above all, whatever you do, don't work somewhere where they tell you what time you can take a break. Thank you.